Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about building confidence, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that is our focus, our topic of thoughts. And I have a special guest here, Kai. And sorry. Kai here, who's going to be helping us understand everything that we need to so that we can practice building our own confidence. So I have to ask you, when you hear the words building confidence, what does that make you think about?
Hi, first of all, hi, and thank you for having me on. It's a real treat to be here. What do I think about building confidence? Well, I immediately go back to the 8-year-old self who was absolutely terrified of everything, and who always tried to sort of fly under the radar, and who was sort of afraid to stand in the spotlight. Things have changed a bit since then, but to 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 build confidence, I think the thing is that forgive me, but there are there's a difference between confidence and self-esteem. And
Yes.
the confidence is a thing about, in the way I look at it, our ability to do something. So if someone, someone, I get kids coming to me the whole time, so go, oh, I've got no self-confidence. So, oh, stop a minute. Are you confident doing your teeth? And they go, yeah, yeah. And are you okay riding a bike? And give or take, most kids go, yeah, yeah, I'm all right. I go, well, good. That's because you've practiced something. So maybe if I said you needed to stand up on stage and start talking about sort of quantum physics, oh no, 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 oh no, I wouldn't be confident to do that. And my response is probably because you haven't done it before, because you're not used to it. So confidence, I think, is someone's ability, that how okay they are with their ability to do something. Self-esteem is slightly different. It's how we view ourselves, how we look at ourselves in the spotlight. Am I a good person? Will I be able to, will people like me? And we're a bit more worried about the judgment. So when I think about confidence, as you know, if someone sort of asked me to stand up on stage and talk about sort of quantum physics, no, thank you. But if they asked me to speak about anxiety, or self-harm, or kids, stuff that kids are going through, I'd be confident enough to do that. So that's what I think about is sort of confidence. How we build it is a different matter.
Very true, very true. Because for me, I think confidence and courage are like right next to each other. And I feel like
Ah,
with courage, you have the fear, but you step into courage. And with confidence, you have the doubt, but you step into confidence. You know what I mean? So it's like even though you may have doubt and even though you may have fear, you step one foot onto courage and you step the other foot onto confidence, and then you walk along and then you build that. So in my mind, that's how I see them two
I
along,
so agree. Yeah. I,
but I absolutely do agree that self-esteem is kind of more of a reflection of how you see yourself and how you
yeah.
feel, you know what I mean, in more of that aspect. And I do think it's important to build your self-esteem, but I also do think it is important to build that confidence and that courage to keep stepping forward. And like you said, it is a whole different ballgame when it comes to building it. So in your opinion, how can somebody start building their confidence?
I think you've said it brilliantly. Is by putting sort of one step forward onto the courage sort of step, and to be able to go. Do you know what? And what we have to remember is, if we're looking at sort of confidence about being our ability to do something, not every we all started off as beginners. The master
Mhm.
started off as a beginner, whether or not it's, you're talking about tennis players, whether or not you're talking about, sort of someone that just does public speaking, whether or not you're even talking, parents becoming parents. We all
Yeah,
started off on the beginner stone.
yeah.
So I think build your confidence is you have to just accept that you're going to get failure, accept that it's
Yeah.
not going to go right, accept that it's going to feel a bit icky to begin with, but the more you do it, the better you get. When when you think of a toddler, there's who's sort of learning to walk, they tumble and fall over, and they don't go, oh, do you know what, I can't do this, this isn't for me. They get up, they adjust the sails, they have hang on to the couch and sort of have another wobble and fall back on their bottom again, and that's fine. They don't actually sort of have a fear of failure. I don't even think that failure even sort of is on their radar. It's that, all right, up we get, do it again. And I think as long as we are easy and comfortable with the discomfort, then we can, and be brave and courageous, then I think that allows us very quickly to get over our lack of self-confidence in something. And to build that confidence, we just know that it's going to be a bit bumpy along the way. And I think as long as we acknowledge that, then it makes that sort of transition to becoming confident about something a lot easier.
Yes, that's true. That is very true. I really do like your analogy because I am a visual person, so I was able to visualize it. And I have toddlers right now. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I remember when my 2-year-old was learning how to climb on the couch, and he was so determined. Oh my goodness, so
Oh,
determined to climb on that couch. And he was only getting frustrated because he wasn't able to do it. But he was so determined that his determination outbid his frustration because no matter how
100%.
much he huffed and puffed and like cried and looked back at me and was like, Bobby, but why? I was like, I'm not helping you. This is what you want to do. Go ahead and figure it out then. And I put the pillows up. I make it safe, so if you do fall
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
but you're gonna figure it out yourself. And he figured it out himself, and now he has the confidence to climb on the couch, climb under, like over couches, climb on things that he shouldn't even be climbing on, and
You're quite right. It just gets, the playground just gets a bit bigger, doesn't it? But I think that's the thing. I think the thing is when people try and help us along, and whatever age our kids are, if we are trying to help them along and make sure they don't make those mistakes, then they're not learning, and they are,
no,
and so they're always expecting a safety net to be there. And yes, of course, we want to be our kids' safety net, but to give them the courage and the confidence, I think we have to allow them to learn without us picking them up and sort of, sort of covering up their mistakes. I think sometimes I especially the younger you are, the well, unless you're sitting on the top of the sort of the top of the couch, the younger you are, the less the fall. I think if we don't accept, I see kids who are doing their sort of, their high school exams, and if they haven't failed before, that bump's a hell of a lot bigger. They feel it. So I think, the sooner, whatever age group, but the sooner we fail, in inverted commas, at whatever it is, the easier it is for us to dust ourselves down and get on with it.
yeah, that's true because when you have many failures in the beginning of your life, when you start having successes and just different turn of events, you start realizing like, wow, this feels pretty good. You're able to appreciate the moment and where you're in, and you're able to stand in it and just be like, I did it, and it's very rare to have those moments, and people don't really like to just take their time and just embody whatever that they're going through, even if it's graduation. Because man, being a high schooler and graduating and failing so many classes or just failing so many tests, and then being able to know that you're able to pass that SAT or ACT, whatever test may like board test that you have to take, it feels so good, within yourself
Yeah.
because you know that you're smart. And when you go to college, it just continues and continues on where you
Yes.
realize like I can embrace everything that comes with it. So, my question to you is, when did you realize you were embodying your confidence or you needed to step into building your confidence?
Um, to
Deep
be
question.
fair,
Deep, deep,
yeah.
deep.
To be
Yeah.
fair, I was I've always been a people pleaser.
Mm,
So, all right, I was a people pleaser, even sort of up until my sort of adult years. And I think when you're sort of trying to make sure that everyone else's needs are met and everyone else is happy with what's sort of going on, you tend to forget about yourself. And
mm,
I was always sort of, I think because I didn't have the confidence, I was always wanting to push other people into the limelight, and into the spotlight. When I was 10 years old, my teacher said to me and my parents at a parent teachers meeting, well, Caroline's not really going to be setting the Thames on fire now, is she? Which made me feel rubbish, average, not good enough. Um, just what's the point? What's the point of me trying, because I'm not going to amount to anything? And that happened for a very long time. And I was always, oh, what's the point? And so, to be brutally honest, I wasn't very brave. I wasn't very courageous. I would rather have sort of, stood behind and let other people sort of shine brighter than me. And it was only when I started training to do what I'm doing now, when I started learning about sort of all the techniques and how to, how to support other people, that I sort of thought, oh, heck, we need to do the inner work here. And so it was in my sort of late 30s, early 40s, and I suddenly, do you know what? I've actually got something to say. Do you know what? I'm actually, I am bringing something to the party. And because for so long, the little
Yeah.
voices in my sort of head were sort of going, well, no, 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 shush, 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 let someone else. Someone else will be the expert. Someone else will shine brighter than you. And so that's probably one of the reasons why I support kids now, because I don't want them to wait like I did 30, 40 years
Yeah.
to think, oh my gosh, we all have a spot here.
Yeah.
So I think it was only when I was training, and I was about 45, to be honest, that we suddenly had all these sort of light bulb moments and breakthroughs and snot and tears. And I sort of realized, oh my gosh, I can stand up and I can do. I mean,
Yeah.
having said that, I was head girl at school, so I had to do a lot of speaking. But I suffered from imposter syndrome a lot. Um,
Mm.
and I think, to be honest, I think most of us do. And I think
Yeah.
it's a matter of being brave and courageous to sort of get past that. But it was only after my training that I suddenly thought, do you know what? Forget the judgment. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. But for a very long time, I did feel like an imposter, and I didn't feel as though I sort of measured up. So, and I think imposter syndrome and confidence can go hand in hand a bit. So yeah, I was probably maybe a lot later. I mean, I was a toddler and I got up and walked and I was good and I was happy enough with that.
Yeah. I
But there was
understand.
always, yeah,
And I think I understand what you're saying because we go through this period in our life when we're really young and we develop this confidence that
we
we
do.
feel like nothing can break us until something does. You know what I mean? Until
Yes,
something actually does and it affects us so much where that's when trauma comes in. And
you're
then
quite
that's
right.
when and once the trauma comes in, that's when we are relearning how to function in life
Yeah,
all over again. And once we learn how to function in life feeling like we are protecting ourselves, then we realize we have to relearn how to let our guards down,
yeah,
and rebuild that confidence that we once had as a youth because the saying damn if you do, damn if you don't
hmm,
is is real. So why
yeah,
not just keep going? You know what I mean? Why
yeah,
not do what you do? Because at least it will make you happy. And I've learned that
yeah,
as long as it makes you happy, then what does it matter what anybody else thinks? Because they're only going to perceive the world from their perspective. And if their perspective is tainted, well, then that's their vision of their world, but that's not my world. And there's other people out there who have a beautiful perspective and outlook into the world. And those people, when you come across them, they're going to acknowledge you and see you for all that you are and embrace you and not have any of those negative judgments, jealousy,
yeah,
bad wishes, or anything against you. And it makes you feel so whole and so seen again when you encounter those people. But it just validates that you are meant to be all that you are, not your trauma, not what you're hiding against. And that's one something that I'm even learning because even as I'm saying it, it's all putting the pieces to the puzzle. And when you were talking, it was putting the pieces to the puzzle too, because we all do have this imposter syndrome that goes hand in hand with confidence,
Yeah,
but it also goes hand in hand with humbleness. You know what I mean? People try to stay humble and they try to like
yeah,
keep themselves away from that pride and just their ego. And being humble can get you right into that imposter syndrome as well. And it can get you right into that
definitely.
doubt. And people need to also remember there has to be some balance. You know what I mean? There has to be some balance in that because it can really lead you down a wrong path if you don't step into all that you are and embrace it and celebrate your milestones and celebrate your accomplishments. Because if we don't celebrate our own accomplishments, goodness, I mean, then it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Then it goes
No,
back to like you said, what's the
100%.
point? Yeah.
I agree totally. The thing is that you and I are from different generations, and I was from the children should be seen and not heard generation. So for a
Hmm.
long time, sort of I mean, thankfully now we listen more to our children. We want to understand their feelings. We want to validate how they feel. That's not how I was brought up. It's not saying that I had bad parents. It's just that's not the way it was. It was like, oh, shush, 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 shush. No one likes to show off, and that's a role. And so children were very much sort of, I suppose, lesser citizens. So, they didn't have an opinion, or even if they did, it wasn't worth listening to. Now it's a very, very different sort of, it's a different environment and it's a different situation, rightly so. But I think the thing is that some of us who are sort of slightly older and sort of long in the tooth have had that upbringing of our opinions don't matter, or there are better experts out there. And I think now the great thing is that we do have people championing one another a little bit more. We have people championing kids and sort of, wanting that. Some might be great at sort of softball, others might be great at math. That's great. It doesn't mean you are any worse or better than anyone else. And I think nowadays, thankfully, we are, and especially with sort of neurodiversity, we are looking to see that people might be very, very different. Their brains might be wired differently, but they still have so much to offer. We still have so much to offer one another. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's so important. And it allows us to nurture our kids more than we used to. We used to
Yeah.
feed and water them and educate them, but now we're nurturing them more. And that absolutely comes down, it comes sort of hand in hand with building confidence, because kids are able to understand that they matter, whatever
Yeah.
they do, whoever they are. And I think that's crucial in anyone's development.
Absolutely. And I also appreciate you saying that there's a difference in the generations that were brought up, because back then your generations and the generations before me, yes, yes, it was very different the way that they treated kids, the
Yeah,
reason why they had kids and the expectations they had for children as well, and sometimes I remember my grandmother was the same way. She always used to put those expectations on us, and it was very frustrating. And it wasn't until I'm in my 30s, and I'm just now figuring it all out and having that aha moment, and
yeah,
just
you
and
and me
trying to
both, and I'm 60.
and trying to just embrace this change that we are trying to eventually all trying to remember that we can
And it's
be
not
the
just it's not just the generational thing, it's the gender thing as well. And I think, sort of the way women have sort of, I don't want to use I'll use the word evolved, but you know what I mean. We are taking back our power. We are becoming stronger. We are believing in ourselves. But for a long, long time, someone's had the, sort of the foot on our head, just trying to keep us quiet, trying to, and I
yeah,
think nowadays, thankfully, we are embracing everyone. And I think I think it's important to shine that light as to whether or not, you are, you identify as male or female, maybe you don't, whatever it is, we are all very different, and we all are very important. And I think that too, because when you sort of look at how many people have been, any minority have been treated in the past, that it's the need to keep them quiet has affected their confidence. And I think now, for anyone to feel that they are able to have a voice and they see someone like them in the media, or they sort of can identify with someone, someone else who is like them, I think that's so important, that we are able to allow everyone to shine brightly. And I think that helps build our confidence at the same time.
Yeah, I think diversity is most definitely a thing that is happening now, and we are trying to embrace it as much as we can because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
what makes us all common is the fact that we're all human, and because we're all human beings and we're all breathing, you matter. No matter what you
yeah,
want to identify, no matter what label you want to claim, you
yeah,
matter. Your emotions matter, how you perceive the world matters, and how you embody everything matters. So it's
yeah.
like building this confidence, building on your courage, building on who you are and how you see yourself affects everything around you, your family, your friends, your community, your work. You know what I mean? In such a way where people will start to realize, okay, we could do this change. We can embrace change, and that's what we want. We want to evolve as humanity and just continue to just embrace each other and just not repeat history, not
Oh,
repeat
please
the
not,
crimes from
please.
history. Yes, let's do something different. Goodness gracious. So that's what I think about that. So it makes me wonder then, what could you tell your younger self if you could tell your younger self anything?
I was on a call just now, talking about sort of, the things that trigger us, and the things that, maybe we often find that what triggers us now is probably something that's unhealed from, sort of earlier years. And I think the thing is that we need to identify what triggers us now, because when we identify with that and we can sort of work out what's going on, invariably it's a need that hasn't been met in our early years. And I think, what I would tell myself is that my feelings matter. Um, I am acknowledged for the effort that I put in. I often do it for sort of, to some people this will sound woo woo, and other people it'll say, oh yeah, I get you. I often do work with my inner child, so I would go back and sort of visit the sort of 8-year-old who I remember was struggling. And what I do is, visually I take her back and I go, look, this is the family that you have created. These are your kids, this is your husband, this is, these are all the people in your extended family. You are loved, you are special, and you are important, and we are here to champion you. And so whatever you're feeling now, know that you are loved and you matter. Because I think that's really, for many of us, that's what's so important is, do I make a difference? Do I matter? Am I seen? Am I heard? And for a young child to know, do you know what, you turn out okay. Someone might have told you at the age of 10, Caroline will never set the Thames on fire. But do you know what, you stuck it at her and you said, you proved her wrong. And I think that's what what our younger selves need to know is, it might feel messy at the minute, and sometimes it might still feel messy in adulthood, but you're strong enough and you're brave enough to take yourself through there, and you turn out okay in the end.
Hmm, that's beautiful. I like that. That's very deep. And people don't think in that type of level. And if we were able to actually, or more people were able to think in that type of mindset, to just walk yourself through, oh my goodness, that's such a
Yeah,
beautiful thing to experience because it brings you such peace. And we all need that inner peace within ourselves to just have that sense of closure
yeah.
if that's what people need. But goodness, this has been such a great conversation and truly helped me think about this in such a different way. And if anybody
Thank
is
you.
out there who enjoyed this conversation as well and would like to know more about her, I have her lovely photo on my website. And right there under you could just click right there and have all the access that she has to offer to the world because, man, she has a great website with great information to help you keep on thinking. So, with that being said, always, always keep thinking, y'all. Bye.